because it was on Stefan and because of how he is, you and I both know just the sweetness that comes out of him, you want to work with him. And it didn't matter. Hey, he fed me. It wasn't like luxurious places I don't care, it's like, hey, I was fed. I had a room,
Got to work.
and we did it in 2 weeks. And
And I think telling this story over and over again with Al and Sparrow, with you now talking about it's really meant, I think, to inspire the future generations that no matter what budget you have, if you're
mhm,
a good person and if you're treating everybody that you run into in the film business with
mhm,
equal care and you don't just like shit all over people,
mhm,
people
mhm.
like you, the main actor, the lead actor, will do it and follow you into battle, no matter how rough it gets. They'll follow
Yeah.
you into battle, and that's really the moral of the story with somebody like Stefan, what he left behind for us.
Hey, everybody. My name is Kathleen, actress slash singer slash mom, all three of the best jobs that anyone can imagine. I wanted to say thank you, Kenneth Wing, for having me here today. I'm super excited and I can't wait to get this going.
Welcome to the Vietnamese. I'm your host, Kenneth Nguyen. Being part of a culture of nearly 100 million Vietnamese people in the world today comes with a lot of pain, proud history, and privilege. Join me as I highlight and explore the Vietnamese experience from all over. Thank you for responding so warmly to my reaching out, and it really warms my heart. Thank you so much for being here.
Are you kidding? Thank you for having me. Like I said, you know, I told you I'm not very good with keeping up with the community stuff. And so your name actually came up from my brother-in-law, you. And he's just like, he loves you. Okay.
Shout
Of
out to
all the
you.
podcasts that are out there, he's just like, why are you not, on the Vietnamese podcast? I was like, dude, I gotta get, he's gotta reach out first.
And it's funny that you bring that up because, when I was starting out in the film business as a younger person and being introduced to your work predominantly through your role with Al and the Sparrow, which happens to be like one of my favorite Vietnamese films.
Oh,
That distance, we talked about that distance between us. It's like um, you did a phenomenal job with that movie, and obviously, really want to talk about that film today, and because
sure.
for me that was like sort of like the birthplace of like the magic for me, how that film was put together. It's very historic in the Vietnamese film industry and film history for Vietnam.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. And again, back to my brother-in-law, he listens to your podcast, and there was one where you interviewed, I think it was a professor at UCLA or something. And when she referred back to certain stories or certain films, she actually brought Journey and Owl and the Sparrow. And so that's where Jung was like, he was so excited. It's like, they talked about the movie. And I was like, no way.
Well, today Jung will get to hear the intricacies of how these films were put together, and your involvement in them, because I'm very serious about figuring how it was, because the people, the director for Alan Sparrow, Stefan Gauger, is no longer here. And so through an extension of you, I know you're very close with Stefan. We can talk about the historical film that was Alan Sparrow.
Yes, I was very lucky to have met Stefan. I actually met him on the set of Journey from the Vault. He was a gaffer and we just got along. He was just a super sweet guy, the
Yeah.
biggest dude, and he's just super sweet. When you talk to him, you just click. And so, on the days that I was on set, and we start talking, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm actually working on a film too." And I was like, "Oh, how cool!" At the time, I didn't know that he was actually writing the character around me.
Wow.
And so I thought that when the Owl and the Sparrow actually came out and he reached out for me to be in the movie, he's like, "Yeah, I wrote this with you in mind." And I was like, "No way." And he's like, "Yeah, I hope you can actually pick up the role and just, and work on this film with me." And I was like, "Are you kidding? Of course." But the problem was my schedule. Um, he wanted to do like a quick, well, no, I think he wanted to do it, be able to do it longer because of my singing schedule was kind of hard. So I was like, okay, if you could get it done in 2 weeks, um, in 2 weeks, kind of. So I'll do it. And he's like, okay, we can make that happen. And as you know, it was shot in Vietnam. It was one of my first times that I went back, and just the hustle and bustle of everything. It was just crazy fun, and we like to call it guerrilla filming, guerrilla style filming, because that's what we did.
Yeah, that's what it was. Stefan was like a guerrilla filmmaker, and we can get it. We'll get into that. I want to hear about this, but okay. So you were singing at the time, right? You're a full time singer at the
Yes,
time,
I
and you
started out singing, yeah.
and how did you get started singing?
You know how you do odd end jobs here during college, and so I had a waitressing job, and I sucked at it. Okay. And I'd come home with like burns from hitting the stove or the hot plates or whatever. And then my mom would be like, má không biết là sao con làm cái này khổ quá, you know, sao con đi hát cho nó khỏe, you know. And I was like, that's what she said. And
Wow,
I was like, thế con, nếu 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 Ly muốn đi hát, má cho Ly đi hát không? Chứ má thấy cái này con làm khổ quá. And I was like, okay. It's like, okay. I go, yeah, get me in. So my mom used to be a singer. So was my
mhm.
dad. His name is Jung Yu, and he sang with ABT. So he knows the industry. He knows the community. And, as parents, you really don't want your kid getting into arts. You know how it is. And
Yeah.
so he was like, oh, well, okay, we'll see how it goes. So then it was Club Cans. I don't know if you remember that, Kenneth.
I sang there too.
No!
Yeah, I sang there, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah, but
Oh my
okay, so
God.
who is the owner and the daughter?
Oh,
They were so sweet to me.
I just know Go Win. I
Yeah,
remember Go
when
Win. Yeah, but you're right. The daughter and Jeff was the son.
yeah,
How could I forget the daughter's name? But I do. It's at the tip of my tongue. But they were super sweet.
they were super sweet people. Yeah.
Because my mom, in her younger years, she sang for Go Win,
Oh wow.
and it was called Cabaret back
Cabaret
then.
before
Yeah,
Can.
before camp. And so she's like, okay, you have an audition, at the Cannes Club. I was like, okay. And I'll always remember my first song was Hot Stuff.
Oh my God, this is crazy. This is
I
so
went in,
crazy. I,
I went in, and that was never played with the band. Gave him my key, did Hot Stuff, and it was a Friday, and I get off stage, and then Go In's like, can you come back Saturday, Sunday? And I was like, yes. So that's how it started.
wow. Was the band leader Michael at the
Yes,
time?
it
It
was.
was Michael, yeah. And and
Oh
and
my gosh, Kenneth.
and
You and I go way back. We just never met, dude.
yeah, because
Oh,
I'm writing a memoir right now, and I've been working on it for like 2 years. And I was recently writing about the Can and Michael, and my experience. And
Michael.
and I remember my first song is "It's Now or Never." It's so weird.
Hey.
It's so weird that we remember our first song, but
Yes,
I
right?
I had never sang with the band either. So when I came up, I was like fucking up because I couldn't follow. Everything was karaoke up at top that point in my life, and
Oh
I
my
was
God, that's
so
so funny.
so nervous, and I couldn't. And then Michael was like giving me bad vibes. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And I could
Oh
tell, yeah,
no. Michael, when you first, yes, he's got that, right?
intimidating.
Yes, that's the word. And I was, you get that vibe from him. You're right. I totally know what you're talking about. But
He's like,
because I
"What?"
was a girl, so I think it was a little even easier for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was like, "What key?" And I was like, "What's that?"
Oh my gosh, you poor thing.
No,
Wait,
I-
wait, okay. What were you doing there in the first place? Was it a dare? Was it for fun? Was
no,
it
no,
you were
no, no.
being
I
proud?
actually trained. I actually trained as a singer. Out of when I graduated USC, I went back to school for singing, and I was like up to that point, I had maybe 4 years of music lessons, vocal lessons.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like crazy. I was like knee deep into it while I was doing
so
the
you
film
wanted to
film
be a
thing.
singer.
I wanted to be a singer, and so I didn't know anybody. Like nobody, and I remember being on stage and meeting Yulan. And Yulan was like very nice to me, and she was like
Oh,
the sweetest human being, and like
yes.
yeah. So that
Yep.
was like I sometimes wish I would have stuck with it, but in the long run, the voice is there, but my memory, I couldn't remember and catch tunes and melody quick enough. You know, you
Uh-huh.
need that. You need to have that talent and that ability. So that's one area where I look back in my life and I'm like, I don't regret not pursuing it because I don't think I would have been the best.
Hey, things happen for a reason. That's what I always say. You know, you tried that path,
Yeah.
and for some reason you're here now. So
Yeah. It's one of the things, one of like the five major things that I did in my life, singing, food, and
yeah,
all these things. It's like, yeah, these experiences allow me to have conversations with people like you, right? Because now we're here and we can like
yeah,
cross and
you
overlap.
can't see me try. So
Yeah. So okay. So how long did you sing at the Can Club for?
I sang from 96, no, 97 to 98. And in 98, a producer came in, because at the time I was dating my now husband, and he was a singer at the Ritz Club,
Hmm.
right? And so
Yeah.
I used to go in there with him, hang out, and people would know, oh, that's Dun Hai's girlfriend, that's Dun Hai's girlfriend. And one night in 98, a producer from Bunsun, do you know that production?
Yep. I sure do.
Bunsun and Huyen Yat Dun, he came in, just hanging out, and I sang it's one of those oldies again. It's like I
Yep.
will survive. He comes down, he goes, Ủa, anh đâu có biết em hát đâu. And I was like, oh yeah, em mới bắt đầu rồi. So okay, thì anh quen Văn Sơn, thì có gì anh giới thiệu, you know, để gì anh giới thiệu cho. And I was just like, in my mind, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Because you hear that a lot,
Yeah.
right? So the next day, Kenneth, he actually brought An Văn Sơn in. And the funny thing is, knowing that An Văn Sơn was there, I fucked up, dude. Dude, my key was, I guess I was nervous. I don't know, but I messed up. And I was like, great, there goes that. And I come down and Tân, okay, tới, bà gặp anh Sơn. I was like, oh, yeah, chào anh Sơn. So, oh, okay, anh thích cái lối trình diễn của em lắm. Uhm, có gì mình hợp tác, làm việc. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's how that started. And so my first song ever with Van Sun was Hey Mickey. And we filmed in Australia and I had a blast, Kenneth. It was just the whole traveling, Australia's crowd,
Wow.
lovable, lovable people. My gosh.
Wow. What an interesting, because this was like late 90s. It was like,
Yeah.
the start of it was the peak of like Majestic, the Ritz, the
Yes.
Can,
Oh my
all
gosh.
these cool Vietnamese clubs. It wasn't cool at the time, but when I look back now, it was such a beautiful time in the history of like that
Yeah.
little
It was just
Saigon.
a place to be where everybody wanted to get together, everyone who was Vietnamese. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was nice. It's not this, I have to say, it's not the same anymore, since those clubs have gone, but there are, so now what is it? It's more like shows, right? Where people get together and just have that good time. Everyone's Vietnamese kind of a thing.
But there's
But
no
yeah,
small clubs like I think in San Jose, there's Lido, or was that
you know,
yeah. Yeah, there's no small venues, a few hundred people where you can go and nghe nhạc thính phòng, where they're just
yeah,
singers there that are just singing, and then you do
yeah,
your ballroom dancing. I don't think that exists anymore. And I think it's because the people who are consuming that music have gotten a lot older. They're in their 60s and
exactly.
70s now.
Exactly. You are
Yeah.
correct. And it's sad, but it's true. It's like it's a new generation now, new people, different type of partying, you know. Hiện tại bây giờ đó thì giống như The Bell, Cách Ly không biết là
Yeah.
they can biết cái chỗ đấy không, but they do focus on thính phòng and stuff, which is it's a nice little place to get together too.
Yeah,
It's
I,
not
I
the same.
I write about this a bit. Is that around like 2003, four, where Lam Chung, Phung Tan were like blowing up in Vietnam, and they were like the first singers Bang Kieu.
Yeah,
And that music, when that started to go off in Vietnam, you knew that the singers here didn't have a shot. It was like, all right, man, they got this raw, fresh. They
yep,
have emotions. It's like they're not singing music that's recycled. You
yeah,
knew we were in trouble.
exactly. you said it spot on. It's like music that was new.
Yeah,
It was music that was like 40, 50 years old. Like, hack they hack like, hack they hack like,
yeah.
and so and we as a community over here, when that music came over, we were so accepting of it because it was good
It was
stuff.
good stuff. It was
It's
good
good
stuff.
stuff. And till today, Kenneth, Lee vẫn thấy là the music coming out from over there, it's some good stuff, man.
Yeah, and you can't really fault our community because there's like 98 million people in Vietnam.
Exactly, exactly.
There's bound to be some mushrooms that like sprout and like go crazy and become, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like become, I mean, not mushrooms, but like little trees that become like big trees.
I get you. I get you. I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
I'm thinking mushrooms like small, but it's like there's 98 million people. So like the songwriting talent, the
Mhm.
emotional feelings that you get from a country that you're from, the music that's coming out of that is fresh and it's raw. And so like in 2004, I realized like there's no way to compete. I don't speak Vietnamese perfectly. There's no way I can pronounce words. So I just gave it up. I was like, there's no way.
Okay, I did it. I tried.
Yeah, I tried. But what I got out of it was this ability to speak Vietnamese because
Oh,
I went after it for like 8 years. I studied with Go Tai Tan, Phạm Duy, not Phạm Duy, Go Tai Tan and Duy Khánh.
you
Those
did?
two were, yeah, teaching. I went to Duy Khánh and Tai Tan for like 2 years total for those two.
Wait, can I
So
ask, when did you come here? When did you come
I
to
was
use?
born here in the United States.
Oh, you were born here.
Born here.
Wow.
Yeah, I was
Mà
born in
vẫn được,
75.
vẫn biết nói tiếng Việt quá giỏi.
Thì tại vì học với cô Thái Thành với Phạm, Duy Khánh á, and everything was like we weren't even studying music. We were literally they would show me how to pronounce for two
Linguistic.
years. So we would
Wow.
like go over pronunciation. They're like, hey, take the homework and go home and learn how to like enunciate correctly, and then we can come back and then practice singing it when you come back next week.
So you reached out to them and they actually took you under
They
their wing and
they had
everything?
classes. They advertised class. They actually had like Go Titan had a studio with Nim Fufi, which is a famous pianist
Okay.
on Westminster near Magnolia, I believe, or Bosa.
Dude, that's like where I live.
Right in the heart of where you live. Yeah. And I didn't know who Titan was at the time, but obviously she's a god to my mom.
Oh,
And.
yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So you came out of that with, so you have that northern think back accent.
I speak Southern because my whole family speaks Southern, but my mom's from the North.
Oh,
But
okay.
no matter how you try, it just feels fake to speak like the way I was taught with
The way that you were
with
speaking. I
Titan. Yeah,
understand. Yeah,
Titan's
I
like,
understand.
this is the proper way to pronounce it, but you're probably never gonna. She said to me,
Yeah.
you're never gonna be a professional singer. But I think what she meant was you're never gonna be a Paris by Night singer.
Oh, there we go. Because once you've made it there, come on now, you
Yeah,
know. Well,
yeah,
I'm glad that you had the chance to at least try it, and
yeah. And then you look back, like what Steve Jobs says, when you look back in your life and all the dots, they connect. And I sit in the podcasting chair after a few hundred episodes, and I understand what that means now because that experience in singing and then film and then business in Vietnam, and I have a food business here for like over 12 years. So all of these things allow me to speak to chefs and creative people all over
no,
the world.
well, do you live in LA
I
now,
live in
right?
LA. Yeah. I live
Have
in
you ever lived here in Orange County?
No, no, no. But I spent a lot of time in Orange County. I mean, especially like for
Oh,
like in my 20s, I promoted clubs in Orange County and I did a lot in OC. I had a lot of my friends
um,
are living there.
oh yeah, I totally represent OC. I mean, look at my cat. Look at this cat, man. And I represent, you know. You guys got
Yeah,
an LA cat. I've got an OC cat. But yeah, I think OC and LA, it's just so different,
they're
Kenneth.
different. Yeah,
I don't picture myself in LA. I don't. It's just it's busier.
yeah,
It's yeah, it's fast paced and I'm just more chill
yeah,
when
yeah.
I'm
How did you get the call for Journey from the Fall? And had you had working experience as an actress before Journey from the Fall?
um I don't know about you, but growing up I was not like this, meaning like I wasn't this ham.
You were this what?
I'm not I was not outgoing. I
Mm,
was
I
not
got it.
sociable. I was shy, timid. Um, you know, growing up here in fourth grade, you remember you had to do those oral book reports?
Yeah.
Okay. I would cry and
Wow.
beg my parents, please get home, please. Because why? The next day I wouldn't have to do it orally in front of the whole class. That's how my that's how I was growing up.
And you're an
And
actress. It's
I
crazy.
know, dude, I'm telling you,
It's
180.
crazy.
And so I grew up like that. And then in high school, I was like, you know what? I love theater. Let's take some theater classes just to get out of this shell. And I did. I took theater, high school theater for 4 years, went into college, took it for another 2 years. And then that was it, because then you had to concentrate into your major. And ever since then, I've always liked to be on stage, you know.
Yeah, but
I
now
really
I'm
am
beginning to see something now.
moving forward.
There's 6 years of like training. So that could bleed into singing. That bleeds into obviously an acting career. That goes
Yeah.
in. It's like the foundation. 6 years of like that kind of training
Yes.
put you at a certain place.
But 6 years not thinking that I was going to do
Yeah.
any of it.
You just want to
You know, it was just,
break out of your
yes,
shell.
yes. That was my main thing. It's like, okay, you know, I was getting tired of being so shy and so timid, and why? Why do you got to be like that, right? So those 6 years, not thinking I was going to get into singing or acting, but I've always liked it because I saw it with my parents growing up, right? Um, so after that, Journey was. Can you help me remember what year Journey came out?
Around 2002-ish, I think.
2002-ish. So which means they auditioned sometime in 2001, maybe the
Yeah.
beginning of 2001. Again, I'm not very good with the Vietnamese community, knowing what's going on, who's who, nothing. So
2006. I made a mistake. 2006.
2000. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh
So
six.
2005 was when. So I
Okay.
started. I started singing in like professionally in '98. I got with my son. So that's like 8 years later.
Yeah.
8 years later was the audition. Now I didn't know about it. It was actually through my friend Ji Gwen, a co-singer, and she's like, "Hey Lee, there's an audition for this all Viet cast. You want to go?" I was like, "Where is it at?" She's like, "It's right here at
Oh,
the Ramada on Brookhurst and Garden Grove." You probably know where that's at,
mhm,
but
I do.
I'm
I know
like, okay,
exactly
yeah,
that
let's go.
hotel.
Yes, very popular place to just everybody gets there.
Trizzy has a place down there, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
she does. I Tango.
I Tango, right in the lobby.
People love that place.
Yep, yep. It's a fun place.
It's a fun place. Yes, it is. So the audition took place. I came in and I read the first one, the first reading. I thought I did all right. And then I got the call back. And for the callback, Ji Yim Ling was already cast. And when I did the callback, they were like, "Oh, hey, we'd like to offer you the role of Fu." And I was like, "No way." I
Wow.
went in it thinking like it's just for fun,
And
not
this is your first acting job?
yes,
Wow. A big
yeah.
movie too.
It was. It
The
was such
biggest
a
the biggest movie I think in our community at the time.
it was.
Yeah.
It was. And to get to be involved in something that big, I didn't know at the time. And when I found out, it was just like you said, the biggest movie of our community at that time. I was just like, wow. And then the thing with that movie, Kenneth, I was fortunate enough to not. Oh, would be. I
Yeah.
wasn't a boat person. So to read the story and like everybody's got their own story, it was just wow. You know, um, because a lot of the times movies about Vietnam, it's about war. It's
Yeah.
more, a lot of times about war, but it just got personal with a lot of the cast members and stuff, and so it's just a powerful, powerful movie.
And then you go from Journey from the Fall, and Stefan was a gaffer on that film.
Yeah,
And the beauty of that point is Stefan is a gaffer. He was a gaffer up to that point, by trade. And the small number of filmmakers at that time embraced Stefan as a gaffer and also knew that he had dreams of being a director. So he hadn't directed anything yet at that point. And what you
Mm-mm.
said was he had this idea for a movie, Alan the Sparrow, and we were close because he was living in LA at the time. And he said, "Hey, I'm going to go out and write this movie that I'm like, how long is it going to take?" He's like, "I'm going to take 4 weeks, 4 weeks to write Al." And then I
That's
was like,
what
well,
that's
where
all
you
it took him. That's it.
4 weeks? Because I was writing at the time too, and he and I would go to cafes like 3, 4 times a week. We would sit, and he would. In 4 weeks, he finished. And I was like, "Where are you getting the money?" He's like, "I'm putting all of it on a credit card."
Wow.
All of it on credit
That's
cards. So I think
some
he spent
dedication.
$10,000 at that time. I
Mm.
can't even explain how insane that is today. Even back then, it was insane. Like to have that
Yeah.
kind of confidence to know that you can tell a story and go shoot it on this like cheapy Betacam Panasonic camera
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That handheld thing that he
handheld
loved so
thing.
much. Oh my, I did not know that you were at the beginning of all that. That is crazy, Kenneth. Wow, you guys go way
Well,
back.
we go way back to like 99 because when I left USC, I met Tim and Tony Bowie because I had wanted to go and pursue film with like two other, my brother and another film guy at USC, and we saw 3 seasons. You're like, holy shit, this is crazy! Like these brothers, like they're fucking killing it out there. They were rep by
Yeah.
CAA, and so we were at USC. We thought we were hot shit, so we like go to the premiere of 3 seasons, and then you know we're like, I got to meet these brothers. And so I met Tim Bowie. He was sitting in the back of the theater with a hat like yours, and he was sitting back
Yeah.
there. And I spot him, and I'm like, I'm gonna go. And he gets up like I don't know, 30 minutes into the movie. He gets up, go to the bathroom, and I follow him. And I had already watched at USC a few weeks before. I follow him, and I'm like, hey, me and my brother and friends are here. We want to have like dinner after this. And I was so naive at the time. And he's like, no, I have to go back to my girlfriend. And I was like, no, you don't understand, man.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, I was like,
You
no,
say no.
you can't say no because you don't understand. Like, I grew up here. This is my city, LA. I basically was born and raised in LA. I have the keys to all the clubs here and all the girls all of it. I was like, pitched him so hard. And then he got on the phone with his girlfriend at the time and he called her back. And then we all hung out for 3 hours at dinner, me, my brother, and Qua.
Dude, good. Because
I
Tim is
am
not like
not like
that.
that. He's
Nope.
very closed. And then I
Hmm.
said, and then I started to prove it. We started to go out and he started to go clubbing with me. And then he started to, and he's a big party animal. So we just started to party for years. That's how I met Stefan. And that's how I got into in
Oh,
99.
I've met the Bowie brothers. Now that you talk about it, oh my gosh, I forgot. I worked with Tim Bowie on his first ever, I think it was a student film, and it was with Antai.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that was if you go back, it would be that was my first film ever. And that was like a long time ago, long time ago. And so
Man,
I
Tai
work
Tai,
with Tim Bowie right now.
that's a
Yeah,
crazy name because he was the hottest man
yeah,
walking around.
he
Jinhoi
was.
today is the hottest man walking around, but
Oh my gosh, I have a rap party tonight that I hope the movie involves Anjit Hoy. I'm hoping he's coming. If he's
he's
not too
back.
busy.
He's back from Thailand. That's some
He
funny
is.
stuff.
He is.
So you wrapped I think it was a short with Dion Lay, right? Lee, is that the
Yes, Stephen
party?
A. Lady. Yes, that's tonight, and just working on all these shorts. It's they're all roles of moms, right? It's funny. Not I've done like maybe I'm gonna say like six short films, all moms. But Kenneth, I tell you, none of those moms are the same. That's the fun part.
Oh wow. What
You
how are
know?
they different?
Oh, I did one for a short film by Amy Pham called House Rules. Quirkiest mom, and she's just, I can never be like her in real life, but the things that you know, all the of course all the moms, the things that they do for their kids, right? And we all have that in common. But it's just the personality, the little little things that makes them click, you know. It's just fun to play. Yes, even though they're all just mom roles, but they're every single one of them are different. That's the cool part. And I just got on doing something called Mom, Dad, I Want to Be a Porn Star. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I love the title. I love the premise of
Oh,
that
can
short.
you imagine? I was just like, oh man, I wouldn't know what to do if I was that mom, you
But
know?
did you do it yet?
Yes, we wrapped last Sunday.
Yeah, I would love to see that as a feature. It's a short, you said?
That wasn't as a short, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just and again, you know, we've got the story of Mom, Dad, I Want to Be a Porn Star. It could have been any ethnicity, right? Any nationality, right? It could have been. It could have related to anyone.
Yeah.
But the fact that it ended up with a Vietnamese family, it was just great. I was like, wow, okay, well, thank you for writing it the way that you did and letting us represent.
Was the director not Vietnamese?
He was not.
Oh, wow. So the creator director of that story was not Vietnamese.
Yes, the writers was one Russian, one American, one Vietnamese, and one I believe he's Japanese. So, you know, that's what I mean. The story itself, it could have been for anyone,
Hmm.
any culture. But the fact that um they got it to be, you know, in the end, a Vietnamese family. Oh,
Why do you think that they selected a Vietnamese? Do you know the reasoning behind why? I mean, it's so culturally relevant to talk about something like that.
you know, the movie itself, it yeah, you know, when you hear when the title, it's like, oh my gosh, you know. But really, when you dive deep into it, Kenneth, it's more, it's about choice, right? Choice that really we know in the Vietnamese family, a lot of the times we don't have that choice. We're
That's right.
more guided toward a certain, you know, and I think because they chose the Vietnamese, it's more impactful, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. There's more
Um,
contrast there, right? Because
yeah,
Vietnamese in Orange County are very conservative, and
yeah,
that is unheard of to have your kid become a porn star.
yeah. I mean, till today, okay, I reached out to an actress to play the grandma, my mom, and her first thing was, oh, you know, reading the title, just the title. Okay, I can't say that I'm comfortable.
Wow. Did she
So
ever
to this
approve it?
day, yeah,
Wow.
you
But I
know,
get it. I get it. It's a
yeah, I
really
do.
risque thought.
Yes, I totally understood when she said that. I go, oh my gosh, Jay, I completely
And
understand.
did she do it or no?
No,
Wow.
yeah, she did not do it. So we ended up casting another person, which which fulfilled the role perfectly, actually.
Those things always work out like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go back to Owl now. Like, okay, so Stefan tells you that I have the script and he gives it to you to read.
Mhm.
And what did you think of it initially?
I thought it was a sad story because the characters, she has, you know, she thinks she has everything, but she realizes, oh my gosh, no, I don't, because she finally meets this little girl that actually brings that side that she thought she had. And then she meets this other male character that just makes her complete, you know? And so when I read the script, I was like, and Stefan, she's so lonely, you know? But because of because of the little girl's character and this male character, she found her family, her her family, her idea of a family. You know, so and Stefan's like, yeah, that's she might think she's lonely, but she's actually not, you know. And so when he wrote it, you know, Stefan, I think he just loves everything about Vietnam and being Vietnamese. That this story, it not only captured three different characters from three different life backgrounds. It just captured everything wonderful about the country that he loved.
This
Um,
is one movie that I wish every Vietnamese person in the world could watch. It is such
Whoa.
a
It is
yeah,
such a sweet story. It
such a
really
sweet story. One of the best films for the Vietnamese culture, and the time period when it was made, how it was made, the story of like what it did to his career. You know, it
hmm
really lit up his career after that. He got like 12 awards from all these film festivals,
Yeah.
won like a big LA Film Festival award. I mean, it was like a huge deal for all of us that we mobilized at the time. Me, Tim Bowie, Stefan, and Ham, and another
Uh-huh.
agent got together to form this company called Wave Releasing. And it was a distribution company because nobody could pick up on the Sparrow and nobody thought that they could make it. So that was the first time a Vietnamese language film distribution company was brought on into the scene, and I was
Wow.
in charge of booking. So I would call Regal and AMC to put the
Uh-huh.
film in the theaters at the time.
That must have been hard.
It was tough. It was
Yeah.
tough. It was a tough sell. But you know, that's when it started. And now we don't there's this thing called four walling, which is you just paid to rent the theater out. We don't have to four wall anymore because we as a community have a track record of films doing decently. And there's a reason why Vietnamese films are in theaters now because of Owl and the Sparrow. We took it upon ourselves to do it as in within our own community.
Wow. Wait, so is it still
No, Wave
operating?
did 5 films at the time, and so we shut down after we couldn't make a profit. I think there wasn't a lot of movies that were coming out, so
Yeah.
not a lot of good movies, so we just had to shut it down. But then that created another company a few years later after Stefan died called East Films, and I'm part of that company with Bao Nguyen and Ham Tran and Lin Fantine from Vietnam and Anderson Lei,
Wow.
Jenny Chang Lei. The six of us are seven. There's 7 of us in that company.
Jenny, I love Jenny.
Yeah, Jenny. So
Jenny, Journey from the Fall. That's when I met Jenny.
wow.
Yep. I met a lot of good people back when I
Yeah.
started out.
Yeah.
I was in good hands. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're very well known in our film circles because of the projects that you did in the early days, like and I'm pretty sure that the young people that work with you, I don't know if I'm fairly sure they don't know the impact that you have or the kind of footprint that you've put down. I mean, that's why you're here, sitting because I am so like enamored by the work that you've done with these early day film guys. It's made a big impact in our business.
I that means a lot. That feels really good when you say that. I like you said, I wish that it would have been bigger. I think if those films were to come out,
Today.
yes, totally different, right? Just about 5 years ago, that's when we started
Yeah.
the whole Asian wave. Just I jumped back into acting just last year, January 2022. And I remember because I came back into the whole acting industry, Kenneth, on a dare.
Wow.
And again, it involved my friend Chichukwan and my husband. And they were like, you know what? If you like this acting thing so much, TV and film, you should really move back to Vietnam. And I was like, how do you mean move back? Because I've got a daughter. And I go, what
Yeah.
about you? What about you, honey? You know, I can't just leave you guys. And he is the most supportive,
Ooh, good.
motivating
Your husband or
my
Anqua?
husband.
Oh,
Yeah.
because you're talking about Juklin and Qua sat down with you?
Oh,
Oh,
Jukwin and my husband was the one who dared
got it.
me
Wow,
to
wow.
get back into this industry. And so I was like, but then what if I get something? And then I literally have to leave you guys and I'd have to be in Vietnam. And he was like, well, let's see if you get something first. Right?
Damn.
So I was like, okay, all right, I'll do it. So then January 22nd, just one after another, short film, auditions, auditions, auditions. And for all the auditions I did, I got callbacks. And then the certain films that I got cast, it I was actually kind of surprised myself because I hadn't done it in such a long time, Kenneth, since Owl. And so to get back in, I was nervous, and all these self tapes now, but month after month after month, and then in May was that big Asian baby girl cast call, right? And everybody, everybody who was Vietnamese,
Put in for it.
yes, everyone worldwide is what I heard. So when in that particular audition, it took me a whole month. I auditioned for the Asian baby girl for a whole month, and I got casted, and that's how I met Din Tai.
Shout out to Din. What a wonderful guy.
Oh, shout out to that guy. Love
Yeah,
that guy.
Din's such a badass.
Yeah, he's as straight as you is. You want to hear it? You better. You're gonna hear from Din. Okay.
Like straight face too. He'll just
Yep.
tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
All right.
Din
Oh
is
my
so gangster. Din's such a gangster.
god.
Yeah, I love Din.
If you were to see him outside, and you don't know him. It's like, dude, do not approach.
Yeah, he's scary. Scary.
Yes,
You're scary,
yes.
dude.
But to me, he's just this big teddy bear.
Yeah,
So
wonderful, wonderful man. And when you got to the script, you thought it was sad and you but you agreed to do it.
yes.
And did you have any changes to your character or any modifications that you're like, hey, Stefan, if you thought about it this way, maybe it'd be better? Did you ever try to improve it?
Um, so the girl, the character, she goes through uh relationship after relationship after relationship. And I was telling Stefan, I go, you still throughout the script, you're still portraying her so like um weak, like yeah, that was the word that came
Yeah.
out, and it's just like he was like, well, how do you think she should be? You know, I go, after as many relationships as she's gone through, I don't think um it's her priority anymore. She should she shouldn't be as weak or as hurt or as dependent on men. So I thought her character should have been stronger, which in turn he was like, oh, okay, okay, let's play it that way. So we did. We played it both ways. You know how it is with directors, like, "Okay, let me see one side and let me see the
Yeah.
other." And he said it worked. It worked because he's like, yeah, that's right. She's not this helpless person. She's strong.
She's
And I go,
strong. She can
yeah,
make her own choices.
yes. And Stefan, as a director, it's nice to hear all
Yeah.
all aspects of the character, because then you can play each one and see which one works the best for both you and the director. you know and on Stefan, he was just very open about suggestions and critiques, and yeah.
No, he was an absolute angel on
He
earth.
was
He was an
he was
angel
so
on earth. Yeah. So dei thương and
so nhẹ nhàng,
yeah,
so
yeah. And he's like
you
this,
know
the biggest guy's like 6'4",
yeah.
scruffy all the time, smelled like alcohol and cigarettes,
Oh my god.
never wore deodorant. Fucking
Oh my
he
god,
was
that's our Stefan.
just
That's
such a
him.
brute. Yeah. But one of the most nice human beings. Definitely different, opposite from Din Tai, It's just
Don't let Din hear you say that. Oh my gosh.
Stepan, I always try to bring him up in the podcast because he's touched so many of our lives. And I hope he's listening somewhere in heaven that, he got a lot of us started. I mean, I can go through the list of how many opportunities he gave all of us, putting us on his movies, giving us the credits of like producing and gave us so much leeway
Now, you being like close to him like that, did you know if he had another film? Because I think he was filming something.
Yeah, he was. Well, no, he was. So after Alan Sparrow, he did Saigon Electric, which Anderson and I produced, and then Bao and Jenny were all like people on the project. And then he did a third one. I think it was Bidung Sa or something like that. So he did a third one in Vietnam. It was a Korean remake or something like that. Did it was a we watched it, we loved it. It was a great film that he put together.
Oh,
And then I think he was working on the fourth one.
oh,
He
when
was
okay,
well on his way, and we were all saying how like every film got better.
wow.
He's talented. He's such a talent.
I mean, the way that he saw through the lens of Owl and the Sparrow, if I would have never thought that he would
Yeah.
film like those night scenes. It's just crazy. The gorilla style,
Yeah.
right? And he'd be like, cat, 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 go over there, stand right there. And then when I give you the hand signal, do what you gotta do, right? And I was just like,
Wow.
what? In the middle of here? And he's like, yeah, I want to get the crowd. I want to get the live action. I want to get it all. And I was like, okay. And that scene turned out great.
And there wasn't much lighting that he set up, right? There was no lights, right?
No,
That whole movie was shot like very minimal um extra lights, right?
yeah,
It was
it
just
was very
all like
minimal. Yeah, and because he was directing and camera, and he's the gaffer.
he's the gaffer. He's the lighting
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. So no, I mean, unless it was like indoors or like, which was not a lot. A lot of the scenes were out in the streets, out and about. So yeah, a lot of it was just natural lighting or yeah, very little lighting.
I had a party that I was preparing a speech. It was like for a film party, and I was preparing an opening speech. It was like for maybe like a 3 minute thing. And I said, I prepared the speech for when you meet a gaffer or a grip on set, and you have no idea how that person can change your life
Mm,
because you don't know what kind of dreams live inside that body. And
no.
then so I was like telling this story of how I met a gaffer, and I went through this sort of like this journey of a story, and then in the end it turned out to be Stefan Gauger, and that is the
He's
kind
one
of
of the rare ones, right? He's
rare.
one of the rare ones because a lot of people, when you work crew, that's all you do. You just crew, you know. But he had
Get a
different,
vision.
yes, different visions for himself. So
Yeah.
I'm glad he did because he, like you said, he came out with a lot of good projects.
But at,
How?
at the at the time when you were shooting Owl, I can't like imagine him putting you up in a five-star hotel or any luxury. I just because he lived like a penniless person and like a real artist. So I can't imagine like how the treatment from his mind as a producer because it was a tiny budget, tiny film. How were you living during those weeks that you were on set with him?
Lớp tội lắm. And before we started anything, I'm có nói, Kat, it's a small budget film. I'm basically putting out my own money. You know, it's not gonna be much. I was like, it's okay, Ann. I like the script and I like you, so let's just do this. So
And what you guys
my room,
have for lunch? What did you get? There's no craft services. There's no snacks. I mean, I
no,
can't imagine anything like it was so bare bones with 10 grand. How do you make this work?
Yuma, because it was on Stefan and because of how he is, you and I both know just the sweetness that comes out of him. You want to do it for him.
Mm.
You want to work with him, and it didn't matter. Hey, he fed me. It wasn't like you know luxurious places I don't care. It's like, hey, I was fed. I had a room.
Got to work.
And we did it in 2 weeks, and that was that.
That's
And he did
crazy.
it because I honestly, he was just the sweetest person because I met him on Journey. He was just the sweetest person on Journey. Um, every day, I was like, hi, Kat, how are you
Mm.
doing today? How are things going? You ready for today? And it's just, even though it's a bad day, he's always got that smile on
Mm.
his face.
And I think telling this story over and over again with Al and Sparrow, with you now talking about it's really meant, I think, to inspire the future generations that no matter what budget you have, if you're
Hmm.
a good person and if you're treating everybody that you run into in the film business with
Hmm.
equal care and you don't just like shit all over people,
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
like you, the main actor, the lead actor, will do it and follow you into battle, no matter how rough it gets. They'll follow
Yeah.
you into battle, and that's really the moral of the story with somebody like Stefan, what he left behind for us.
Yeah. 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 No, I totally agree. I would have done, you know, again, it was just the scheduling and the fact that he was like, okay, I can do this. We can do this. We just work around your schedule. I go, okay, that's the only thing, because min làm cho ảnh á, but my real money making was over here,
Yeah.
with the singing. So he totally understood that, and the fact that he was so willing and so to work around my schedule, get me in and out, in and out. It was just great. He's just so easy to work with, so
Yeah.
chill.
And what did that film do for you in your life, emotionally, professionally, after you after the film got out? Did it move the needle for you at all?
Um, for me personally, I was very proud of the film. Um, Professionally, like I said, cái thời đó mà mình ra mấy cái phim đó, it didn't, it really didn't take you to the next level. It couldn't, because up until, what was it, 5 years, Crazy
Yeah.
Rich
There's
Asians,
no
until
opportunity.
until yeah, and you as a distribution company back then, how it was. It wasn't easy, and so any film that came out, yeah, it got a little buzz,
Yeah.
but then it just died after that because there was no market for it. Um, so yeah, if it totally different if it came out today, you know?
and and it's like years from now where the industry picks up and you're now getting all these shorts, and then becomes like you get a feature once a year, and then obviously you know things grow, and then you get awards, and then people are like, where did she come from? It's like overnight
Right?
success. But the the hustle and the grind started like in the early 2000s, where you like knocked it out of the park, but like we don't see that. We don't get to hear about those journeys that somebody like you, veterans like you, have had on the way to 5 years from now, on the way to your success.
Yeah, yeah. That's why when you asked me, um, I work on these shorts and I meet all of these, I call them kids because they
Yeah.
are, and they're just like, they've actually heard of Journey or Owl in this world. They actually have, but is it because they're in the industry, you know, or is it, or was it something that you know, well, if they're 25, yeah, they would have seen it back then too,
Yeah,
but
and if you go on the internet and you put your name in, you'll see Journey and Owl like prominent. It's those are the two big films that you will see attached to your name.
yeah, yeah, and I'm proud.
Yeah, I'm so yeah, I am very proud of the work that you did too. Believe me, it was like we spent a whole year trying to get that Owl and the Sparrow out into the theaters and get it seen by
Uh,
everybody. I
and
still stand behind it.
I remember the galas that and Stefan would all,
Yeah.
you go to these festivals and the galas, and he's like, Cat, you want to go? It's like, yeah. And I actually went to one with him because, most of it was on the weekend and then I sing on the weekend. So there was one weekend I didn't have any singing gigs. So I went with him and it was so much fun. It's good
Well,
memories.
it's funny that you bring up this topic right now. On September 16th, we have another Vid Film Festival gala, but this one's hosted by me and Vala on
And
September 16th. It's like probably 1,000 people going to that.
wait, that's different from VFF, right?
The same thing.
Oh, because I thought VFF screenings were October 6th and 7th.
Yeah. So we have a launch party for the October Film Festival. This year, I teamed up with the Vala, which is the mother company that throws the VIF event. So
Yeah.
Vala and the Vietnamese podcast is hosting a party for the launch of the film festival in October. So we're doing it a few weeks earlier so we can get the word out that, hey, there's a film festival. So instead of like, the traditional party that they're doing, we got Remy
Hmm.
Martin in the sponsor. And so it's like this big blowout. So I hope you're in town and, would love to have you join us.
Where are you? Where is it
It's
at?
going to be at the Circle.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, Huntington Beach. I think Warner and Magnolia near that area.
Oh, dude, I'm there.
Okay, perfect. Just put it on your calendar. I'll tell you after the podcast. I'll give you
Yes,
details.
yes, yes.
But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and it's important to talk about this because those galas that you were invited to by Stefan, you're going to see the
Hmm.
evolution of where we are today in the film business. So all the kids that you worked with, chances are that they're all going to be at the party, and all the people in LA that are in the film business and music business will all show up to this event because we're bringing it, Paris by Night, Asia, we're bringing film and people in entertainment from LA all together in this one night.
Was this the first year that you
First of
guys
it.
are doing?
Yeah, it's the first one because I did one in February and it had like all the cast of I did in LA and had 350 people. And so this time around we're incorporating the Orange County group of like entertainers, like
Dude,
Ying,
that's gonna
and
be epic.
it's gonna be epic. It's gonna be an epic party.
Ooh,
It's gonna be an epic party, yeah.
okay.
And it's that we're not here to play loud music and dance. It's literally like at a club, and we bring the music down, and it's just so people can say, "Oh my God, it's so good
Get
to
to
see
know
you in
you.
person."
Yeah. Just like me and you, the last time I saw you in person, I didn't, I couldn't approach, man. I couldn't approach. But this time, dude, I'm giving you that big hug. What's up, Kenneth?
Oh, that's so funny, Kathleen. It's so crazy. It is so crazy to even think
That was
about
a
that.
fun event. That one.
Oh, did you go to it?
That's where I saw you and I didn't want to, I couldn't approach.
Oh my!
You
So
guys are so busy.
you went to the one in February.
Yes. I heard it through Jess Bo.
Got it. So
Yeah.
Jessen is, helping me to send out the invites.
Oh my
Shout-
gosh, who doesn't know Jess Bo?
Yeah,
Who?
Jess. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna really say with Jess Vu in the LA entertainment community, it is a better place because of her organizing skills, her ability to keep everything oiled and moving the gears behind the scenes with all of the Vietnamese American in entertainment. It is phenomenal to have her. So yeah, so she's helping. She's part of the board of Vala, and she's on the
So
team
young,
organizing.
so young, so ambitious, that one.
Mm-hmm.
My
And
gosh.
brilliant, just a really smart woman.
And it was because of her that I know, okay, I have a very good friend since high school. His name is Vian Ha. And he got back after 40 years. 40 years of acting. He finally got back. And one of his biggest things was This Is Us, the show. Okay, so that's huge, right?
Huge.
So I'm talking to him, and this is when I, took the dare from my husband and my best friend. I was like, hey, man, maybe you can help me get back in. Um, just to who can I reach out to?
Wow.
And he was helped by Jess. And he's like, you know what? Let me just give your number to Jess and let's see what happens. And she was super helpful. Super, do you have anything I could watch? I was like, well, I did Journey and I did Owl. So, oh, okay, I've heard of those. How are you currently? And so I didn't have anything, Kenneth. All I had were my self tapes. And she's like, can I see those? I was like, you want to see my self tapes? He's like, yeah. So I sent her those, and I guess my self tape, she was impressed or she liked it, and she got me a manager. You know how hard it is to get a manager,
Yeah. Almost
right?
impossible.
So he's like, you know what? Let me use this tape, and I'm gonna send it out to some people that I know, and then that's how I picked up my manager. It was unbelievable, and everything. She just knows everyone, everybody, and everybody knows her.
And everybody respects her.
Yes, yes. Anything you need, Jess.
Yeah.
Anything Vietnamese culturally related, film industry, Jess is the person to go to.
Yeah. And
And
so she was instrumental in the invitations for the February that party that I had. And she's
mm,
instrumental in this one. And I will always have her on my teams as I do these events. Cause so yeah, so you know what we're doing. So that February event that you went to, this is gonna be triple that size.
wow,
Yeah.
that'll
So
be fun.
it's gonna be so much fun. And it's gonna be, for all the people in the entertainment business, in the Vietnamese community, it's a place that we can hopefully meet annually so we can make sure that we keep the momentum of what we're doing going.
Wow. I'm excited about VFF too. I've got two films going in there.
Uh, can we talk about which films?
One of it is called House Rules, The Quirky Mom.
Yep.
It's a short film, and the other one is called Thunderclouds. That was my first film back in 2022. And
So we hope that the listening audience, if you are local to Southern California, that you will come out to check these two films out at Viet Film Festival this year in October. Because I'm always going to plug. That's like my family, right? These people are my
right,
family. Yeah. Um,
Kenneth, do you remember? I mean, VFF. Yeah, it's stronger and stronger each year, and just the past year and this year, it's just through the amount of short films that I've done. There's just so many upcoming young Vietnamese writers, directors. It's crazy
it's
how
crazy.
yes,
Like
and
beef.
it's like, where
Beef
did you
had
take you from? Thank
and
you. You know.
but that's a funny fucking question. Where they come from? They've been grinding for 10 years. Like this writer of on beef, she's like been writing for 10 years. And like nobody knew. I just interviewed an executive at DC, DC Comics studios that put out Superman and Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
Batman. She's a vice president, Chantel Nong. She's a Vietnamese and she's vice president over at Warner's. And we're just like, where none of us have heard of like, but if
Oh,
you're in the business in the mainstream side, you know who Chantal is. But I'm like, wow, I've been doing this for 3 years, this podcast, and I'm like beginning to see the power that the Vietnamese, but they don't really bond. Nobody's bonding yet. Nobody's like, really coming together to know
why do
the
you think
the
that's
plan.
so?
It's because we're new. That's all. That's all it is we're just brand new. But we will rival the Korean side if we get our act together and we can really pull through and organize and really like come together and bond as a big coalition. We can move the needle in Hollywood,
I like that. I like that.
and there will be more job opportunities for you, for Ham, for people that are in the creative arts.
Man, executive of DC Comics? Wow.
vice president vice president of DC Comics. So she gives notes to like all the like the directors that they want to make these big superhero movies. She's like the person and her team in charge of reading the scripts and making notes and sending back to directors. And so she's on the creative side of development. It's
Huh.
mind blowing, and she's like younger than us.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
she went to Yale. It's this is incredible, bright person.
And
So
you were
we're
able to interview her already.
yeah.
Great. Oh
But
my
that's
gosh.
the kind of level that we're playing at with the guests that come on to my podcast now. They're like people who are like you, who's been around for a long time that we as a community don't know about yet. And my job every fucking year is to have people like you come back every time there's a new project that you have, and we can talk about the new project. So now today is about the introduction to Kat Lee on this podcast. So every
Oh my
year,
God.
as you continue to do work and progress, and even if you don't, it's okay because you are you're a mile marker in the industry that we're in.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, are you kidding? I'm part of the Vietnamese podcast family now. Yes. I can proudly say that, and I can proudly brag to my brother-in-law.
Shout out to
He's gonna
Jung,
love
right?
it. He's gonna love it.
Well, this has been a delight, and I knew it would be because of who you are and the way you carry yourself. Because you're just so fun to talk to, and I really enjoyed this time this morning.
Likewise, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for reaching out. And thank you and the audience for having me on the podcast
Yeah,
today.
we're all honored. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Thank you for listening to The Vietnamese with Kenneth Nguyen. Special thanks to Brittany Tran, to Jane Nguyen, Catherine Nguyen, Tina Pham, Sydney Jamie, and Christo Trin. Please find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at The Vietnamese Podcast.